From the Pep Radio newsroom, here's what we are covering today. A library at a Florida college that has been overhauled by state Republicans and their allies has been placed on administrative leave after hundreds of books, many of which contained LGBTQ themes, were sent to a landfill last week. A spokesperson on Monday confirmed to the Sarasota Herald Tribune that Shannon Hausinger, New College of Florida's dean of the library, was placed on administrative leave. The book disposal and Hausinger's leave are the latest developments at New College, a small liberal arts school in Sarasota that has undergone a significant transformation over the last year as Governor Ron DeSantis has led a campaign to turn the school into the Hillsdale College of the South, referencing the private conservative Christian liberal arts school in Michigan. New leadership was installed while many students and longtime faculty fled to other universities. The new board voted to terminate the gender studies program, after which DeSantis celebrated the college as the first public university to push back on gender indoctrination. On August 13th, hundreds of books were seen overflowing from a dumpster behind the Jane Bancroft Cook Library. Pictures and video of the heaping pile of books, many of which were on LGBTQ topics and religious studies, incited immediate backlash and widespread media coverage, some of which appears currently on the Pennsylvania Equality Project's Instagram page. With the disposing of library books, New College also tossed materials from the now defunct Gender and Diversity Center, a student-run and student-curated library of books on subjects such as the LGBTQ community, Black stories, and women. Some of the books discovered in the trash last week include titles such as Nine and Counting, The Women of the Senate, The War of the Worlds, and When I Knew, which is a collection of stories from LGBTQ people recounting when they knew they were gay. The Times-Union from Albany, New York is reporting that in November, New Yorkers will vote on a constitutional amendment that would codify reproductive rights and protection from identity-based discrimination. Whether or not the words abortion and LGBT will be included in the explanation of the ballot amendment is unclear. Currently, the language explaining the ballot question is taken verbatim from the proposed Equal Rights Amendment, which refers to discrimination protections that cover sexual orientation, gender identity, and pregnancy, as well as reproductive health care and autonomy. A lawsuit pending in the state Supreme Court in Albany, brought by two New York voters and supported by Democrats in the legislature and on the State Board of Elections, could make that language more direct. The ballot question proposed in the lawsuit would explain that the amendment protects LGBT and pregnant people and protects abortion. This updated language, according to the lawsuit, was drafted by the Office of State Attorney General Letitia James. I think there's an understanding that this ballot measure may drive voter turnout, said Renee Zaitsev, an attorney working for the two voters who brought the lawsuit. The driving forces behind it were really abortion and LGBT rights, so the Attorney General's proposal says it would add additional protections based on sex and race, but it also specifically highlights that it would protect abortion and LGBT people. But when lawmakers passed the proposed amendment, they did not include the terms abortion or LGBT in the language of the bill. Still, the lawsuit argues that the current ballot question violates a recent state law requiring plain language on voters' ballots. Passed last year, the law mandates that any ballot questions on constitutional amendments require no more than an 8th grade reading comprehension level to understand. According to the lawsuit, the Board of Elections' proposed description of the amendment has an automated readability index score of 14, which roughly corresponds with the reading level of a college graduate. And finally, CNN is reporting that less than a month ago, Justice Elena Kagan suggested that the Supreme Court consider dialing back its review of significant cases on controversial emergency docket. Our summers used to actually be summers, Kagan told a group of judges in California, lamenting the relentless filing of emergency appeals. We've gotten into a pattern where we're doing too many of them. Since then, the Supreme Court's emergency caseload has exploded. In coming days, the High Court is expected to tackle short fuse challenges to President Joe Biden's latest effort to reduce student debt and to cut planet warming pollution by limiting power plant emissions. And the court must decide whether Arizona, a presidential battleground, may require thousands of people to prove their U.S. citizenship before voting this year. Also pending is a fight over Biden's requirement that family planning clinics that receive federal public health funding provide referrals for abortions for patients who request it. This is strictly commentary, but gee, Justice Kagan, you sit on the most conservative Supreme Court in generations. I don't blame you for wanting your summers off. And that's the news for today from PEP Radio. Now back to the music.